Thank you, Amber, for that beautiful story. You should know that Corin calling me up right after you was deliberate. So, the gift that keeps on giving. I'm thinking, what's the gift that keeps on giving? And you know, my first thought immediately, like all of yours, was, well, herpes. But then I thought, there's nuns here, and Corin's going to give me that look, and you know, Nathan's here. So I was like, well, what else? And I thought, you know, how do we make ourselves gifts that keep on giving? And my answer to that is always be growing up, but never grow up. Always be striving towards an adulthood that you never quite attain. You know, that keeps you flexible. Don't get set in your opinions and your thoughts and your ways. You know, by the time you're 20, what's the fun in that? What kind of living is that? You know, I think back, when I was a small child, I couldn't wait to start school. I would make my parents, when I was 5, drive me by where I was going to go to school next year. And they go, that's where I'm going to school. Because I could read a little. I mean, you know, and all I knew is that was the gateway, reading. And I wanted to learn to read. Now, I knew that the trade-off was you went and sat in a classroom 6-7 hours a day. But that was more than a fair trade, from what I thought. From getting to just read all these books. Now, the house I grew up in was not big on sanity, but it was full of books. And I would look at these books, and I would play with these books, and I would just want to be able to read those words. You know, it was this excitement when I started school, and excitement I never really lost. Now, at first it was a little disappointing because my first grade class, you remember I could read some. We started with Dick and Jane, and there may be some of you left who remember learning to read from Dick and Jane. These little books with repetitive short words about Dick, Jane, and their dog Spot and their family. You know, it'd be like, see Spot, run. Run, Jane, run. Dick has a gun. You know, that sort of thing. And, but what reading, I think, gave me was, you know, not only the ability to think, but the ability to question. And I remember one specific incident, and we're taking the scenic route, but I'm going to get to a point. You remember, you know, the Thanksgiving stuff you did in grade school? You know, you dress up like pilgrims, and some people dress up like Indians, and you'd have the whole story of the first Thanksgiving, and Squanto helping, you know, these pilgrims. And while most of my friends would just be sitting there thinking these are stupid hats, I wondered, well, you know, when we turn to the next page in our social studies book from the first Thanksgiving, we're to Ben Franklin and that stupid damn kite. I'm like, well, where are all the Indians, man? Because it seemed like there were a lot of them. You know, I knew there were some out west, right? But where are all the Indians? We would take trips to the Indian mounds. They'd tell us all about the Indians. And I'd be like, oh, we got plenty of mounds. We got mounds out of the wazoo, but we're real light on Indians. Where do the Indians go? Couldn't get a satisfactory answer at school, so another thing I loved was going to the library and constantly evading the librarian who was trying to shepherd me back into the kids section. So I went, evaded my mom, evaded the librarian, and went to the nonfiction section, and I looked up some books on Indians. And I found out what happened to the Indians. We don't come out well out of it. What happened to the Indians is that, most of them, I mean, I'm going to go a little long, I'm just going to tell you, but I'll try to, if that thing beeps at me, we got a problem. A lot of them died of diseases. In fact, contrary to the myth of, the hardy pilgrims chopping farms out of a forested wilderness, no, they landed right next to Squanto's old village where everybody was dead, where everything, the farmland was out. It's like if we me and Nathan stumbled into a liquor store and died of thirst. Georgia, I learned. We are a world leader in getting rid of Indians. Do you know Georgia's the only one of all the 50 states that does not contain a single federally recognized people, tribe, nation, or band? Oh yeah. And it was a wonder, I don't know how we found time to run off all the Indians, what was keeping from all the slaves from running away, but apparently we did. So what you gotta do is question. What you gotta do is learn. Always be open to learning, always be open to growing up. I believed ridiculous things when I was young, but I grew up. I was made uncomfortable by ridiculous things, but I grew up. I used to drink and get party and get high and carry on all the time, but okay, bad example. But, the thing to do is to keep an open mind and always entertain the possibility that you might be wrong. That's the gift that keeps on giving. Thanks, y'all.